Okay, it is known. In addition to the fact that anything in Torah is a lesson for everybody at all times. So in addition to that, yes, but there's a special lesson for this particular time range that we learned this parsha that has a special lesson and message for us timely. In addition to that, since everything in Torah is very much b'diuk, very specific. So it seems to be. So in addition to the special lesson, to what occurs in this week's parsha for current events, so there's also a special lesson from when Shabbos happens to be. So whatever day in the month this Shabbos happens to be, that's also something that adds in what the lesson is as to what needs to happen. But again, regarding this coming Shabbos, Parshas Vayeira, so not first and foremost, so there's the lesson. The lesson from Parshas Vayeira, Vayeira Hashem al Avram, that Hashem reveals Himself to Avram. So there's a lesson there. There's also the lesson from the date. This Shabbos that year was Chai, Yud Ches. This year it's Yud Tes. So there's a lesson from the timing when this parsha occurs. In addition to Yud Ches has its own specialty, but it's within 3 days of Chof Mar Cheshvan. Yud Ches is, then goes Yud Tes, then goes Chof. So it's in 3 days. What's Chof Cheshvan? So we all know that Chof Cheshvan is the Yom HaIledes Shel Chok Admur Mar Shab. It's the birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. The Frierdiker Rebbe's father, the Rebbe Rashab, his birthday was on Chof Mar Cheshvan. His birthday is Chof Mar Cheshvan. So there's a special lesson from the fact that Parshas Vayeira is in close proximity to Chof Cheshvan. And what's the lesson? So in order to understand this, there's a known story. What's the story? There's a well-known story regarding Parshas Vayeira and Chof Mar Cheshvan. What's the known story? So the known story is that when the Rebbe Rashab was 4 or 5 years old, he was a young boy, 4 or 5 years old, a young child. Not too much older than this young man that's running around now. So when he was a young boy, when he was a young boy, he went to his Zayda, his grandfather, who was the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, who was the third Chabad Rebbe. There was the Alter Rebbe, the Mittel Rebbe, and then there was the Tzemach Tzedek. So the Rebbe Rashab's grandfather was the Tzemach Tzedek. So when he was a young child, he went to visit his Zayda. And when he was a young child, he went into his Zayda and he started crying. A little child crying, obviously his Zayda said, "What's the matter? Why are you crying?" And what was he crying about? He was crying because he was learning Parshas Vayeira. What does it say in Parshas Vayeira? Vayeira Hashem el Avram. That Hashem reveals Himself to Avram Avinu. Right? So he cried to his Zayda and said, why did Hashem reveal Himself to Avram Avinu and we don't get to see Him? Why don't we see Hashem? So that's what he cried to his grandfather about. So the Tzemach Tzedek turned to his grandson and said the following: do you want to know why Hashem revealed himself to Avraham Avinu and he doesn't reveal himself to us? Let me tell you. Because Kishi Yehudi Tzaddik, when there's a Jew that is a Tzaddik, Machlit Begil Tishim V'Teisha, in spite of the fact that he's a Tzaddik, he decides that when he is 99 years old, which is what Avraham Avinu was then, when Vayeira Hashem al Avraham, when Hashem reveals himself to Avraham Avinu was 99 years old. So he told him that when a Yid, that's a Tzaddik, decides when he's 99 years old, then in spite of everything that he's already done, he still has to go through a bris, because Avraham Avinu in this week's parsha does the bris. So that means at 99 years old, he realized, yeah, I'm 99 years old, I've done a whole lot of things, but I didn't have a bris, and that's what I want to do. So the Tzemach Tzedek said to the Rebbe Rashab as a child, when a person that's a tzaddik, after living his life for 99 years old, doing all kinds of righteous things, still says, there's so much more I still need to do. I still have to do a bris. So making that kind of commitment, so a person like that is worthy that Hashem should reveal himself to him. Because this is really a special person that he realized, normally you live for 99 years old and you're a tzaddik. So you say to yourself, listen, I've done so much already. It's time to take a break. It's time to relax. It's time not to work so hard. And now Avraham Avinu says, no. I still have to do a bris. And that's a major thing, both physically and spiritually, whatever that accomplishes. So the Tzemach Tzedek said to his grandson, you want to know why Hashem revealed himself to him? Because this is the kind of person that Avraham Avinu was. So that's the story. So, and this 4 or 5 year old child heard that, and he said, now I get it. Right? That's what happened. So Sipur Zemadgish, this story emphasizes Vayeira Elov Hashem, that is pasuk that says that Hashem revealed himself to him. Shayach rak liyehudi tzaddik shebiyil tzaddik teshana machlut shesarach lamalas atzmui. Particularly applies to a yid that's a tzaddik who decides that he still has to have a bris. So if I'm a yid that's a tzaddik and I decide that I still have to have a bris, then I'm worthy of Hashem revealing himself to me. But if I don't make that decision, I say, 99 years old, I've done so many righteous things. I continue to do those things, but I don't have to make any major changes in my life because I've lived like a tzaddik up until now. A person like that doesn't get the revelation of Hashem. But if you decide that you need to do that, then all of us are in a similar situation that we would deserve to have this revelation of Hashem. Which means that even somebody that's a tzaddik, still just being a tzaddik doesn't make you worthy of having the revelation of Hashem. What then? Only a tzaddik that at 99 years old, after being so righteous, decides he still has to do a bris. That's the kind of tzaddik that is worthy of a revelation of Hashem. So that's what this story is. So now the Rebbe says, we need to understand this. This story begs for some explanation. If this is a message to a tzaddik, what's the lesson for the commoners, for us people, us regular guys that are not tzaddikim? And we're told what the pasuk says, and then we're told that there's a story, but this all applies to somebody that's a tzaddik. What about us? What's the lesson for us? Or for the majority of people that are not tzaddikim? Gam mi shelo yigil dargas tzaddik. Well, achas kama v'kama she'eni tzaddik shebigil tzaddik tashonim achlu lamal asatzmai. Somebody that's not a tzaddik. And furthermore, what about somebody who doesn't decide yet that he has to do a bris, even if he is a tzaddik? Certainly somebody that's not a tzaddik, what's the lesson for us? And even if we are a tzaddik, but we haven't decided that we have to still do a bris, what's the lesson for us? But basically the question is, what is the message for us from this week's parsha?
You missed your son-in-law's Barak Torah on Shabbos. But very big was that we're all tzaddikim.
Okay, but Emuna are all tzaddikim. We didn't reach that level yet. We're still trying to get there.
But maybe there's another point here which I didn't see in previous Lech Lecha, and that is that there's two lists. That there's a list like age that you can count, and that there's a list of things that cannot be measured. One of the hardest things you taught me at the beginning of our learning is that the covenant, the commitment of Hashem cannot be fathomed. You cannot comprehend it. It's so enormous. It's so given. It's on that side that cannot be measured. It is endless. It was given the second it was signed. And like the ability of a tzaddik, it is endless. There's no measurement. I think for us, the simple people, there's things that are hard to comprehend. And I think there's a side in Lech Lecha that tries to give us, the ability to see the side of things that are endless, the side of the contract between Hashem to us, things that cannot be measured.
Very well said. And as we will go on, we'll see that that is really what the point of this whole Sicha is all about. That yes, not everybody is a tzaddik, but at the same time, as you make the point, and Nachman made the point earlier, there's still something about each and every one of us that says, Ve'amcha kulam tzaddikim. At the same time that we're not quite there, like Avraham Avinu, but still, we are all righteous from the perspective of our connection to Hashem. That covenant that was made with Hashem, each and every one of us have that special connection. The proof being, more than any time before, is what's going on today in the world. In spite of where we are, that unbelievable unity that exists between Klal Yisrael. Why is that? In spite of everything? Because of that covenant that exists between every single Jew, no matter what.
Yes.
With a kippah sruga, without a kippah sruga, no matter what. You're Jewish, you're part of that covenant.
We are filled with a contract, with a covenant that is endless. That already elevates us to that side which is endless.
And that's why
we are limited.
And that's why we can all expect to have the best.
Yes.
And each one of us can expect, just like Avraham Avinu says, Vayeira Elav Hashem, that Hashem reveals himself to him. Each one of us can ask the same question. You, why not me? Because we're as Jewish as Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't any more Jewish than each and every single one of us. And we are not less Jewish than Moshe Rabbeinu.
Last sentence to say, which I've said in previous years, Parashat Lech Lecha isn't like other parashot. I know others would say the same thing on others. This Sicha is unusual. It has its holiness in it.
Right. Okay, so
when are you going to come back in person? I miss you.
I will. I miss you. I miss you very much.
You hear that? So the question is, how does this affect all of us? Now that we've heard all the possible suggestions on it, let's see how the Rebbe actually says it. So the Rebbe says we can explain this back to Vayeira. Let's understand what this is all about. We're talking about that Hashem reveals himself to Abraham, and the Rebbe Rashab asks, how come to Abraham and not to us? So let's understand what actually happened when Hashem revealed himself to Avraham Avinu. What's so unique about that? What is so special about that? That the Rebbe Rashab wanted to have the same thing and he cried about it. And each one of us should want the same thing and cry about it. What is it that we're talking about? So it's known that Rabbi begins Shagilu de Vayeira el Hashem la'achrei al yidei mitzvah smila, that when Hashem reveals himself to Avraham Avinu after he did the mitzvah of Milo, it's at a much higher way, a much higher level. Hashem reveals himself to Avraham Avinu even before this Parsha Vayeira. In Parsha Shlach Lecha, there's different times where Hashem speaks to Avraham Avinu, reveals himself to him, but that's not what we're talking about here. Here, there's a special thing, Vayeira Hashem al Avraham. So the question is, what happened here that didn't happen before? Why is this particular revelation of Hashem to Avraham any different than what happened before? So what's the answer? So the answer is Bishtayim. There's 2 points that make the difference, that show this difference. Number one, B'dargas Holikus, the level of Hashem that reveals himself to Avraham in this week's Parsha. Vayeira Elov Havaya. It says that which level of Hashem reveals himself. Hashem has different levels. There's Alikim, there's Shem, Shakai, Adnai, there's all kinds of different names, Kale, there's all kinds of names of Hashem. But here we say, which level of Hashem revealed himself? Yud Kei Vav Kei. The special name of Yud Kei Vav Kei is the one that revealed himself to Avraham Avinu. That's number one. The level of revelation came from the highest level. And number two,
why Sam says to Moshe that you're the first one.
We'll get to that too. But we're up to Avraham Avinu now. Yeah, good point.
The ego, he knows whatever the
what?
He knows egos, the Sefer, the Sfarim that we writes that. It says that if Hashem had appeared to Hashem, emotion, his name like that, nothing could exist. It had to be Mashana.
Let's hold up with that at the moment. Number one, Vayeira Elov Hashem. That's the first issue. That it was this high level of the essence of Hashem. To the point that even in Pashas Lech Lecha, Hashem is mentioned, this name Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, but the level that we talk about here is a much higher level. A revelation of a higher level is what we talk about in Pashas Vayeira. And number two, so that's number one, that the issue of this revelation was the kind of revelation of the essence of Hashem that never existed. And number two is, let's see, where are we up to? Beis b'hisgalus le'Avraham, in terms of how it was revealed to Avraham Avinu. It's the level that was revealed, which is a high level. We're talking about the essence of Hashem. And how Avraham got to see it is also different than all the other times that Hashem was revealed and people got to see it. What's the difference? That this high level, whatever that is, that we're going to be talking about soon, not only was revealed, but Avraham, the recipient, so to say, got to be able to connect with it. Sometimes you have a tremendous revelation. Let's assume this: you walk outside and the sun is shining. The sun is shining so strongly that you have to put on sunglasses. You can't connect with the essence of the sun because it'll blind your eyes. You have to put on sunglasses so you can get the shine that comes through the sunglasses, or you're able to deal with the shine of the sun that's so strong. So what we're saying is, number one, this revelation was a great revelation from the giver, from Hashem, and from the recipient, Avraham Avinu. He was able to take its entirety and relate to it. And we'll see what that means. So you have these two aspects. So that's in terms of when we say, what happened here, Vayeira Elav Hashem, that's so special. So what's so special is in terms of the essence of Hashem that reveals itself. And number two, in terms of Avraham Avinu being able to deal with it, receive it, and be a receptacle to be able to handle such great revelations. This concept that we talk about now, that he was able to receive it, he was able to deal with it, is also alluded to in the pasuk. How? Because the pasuk says, "Vayeira elav Hashem." Hashem reveals himself. The essence of Hashem reveals himself to Avraham Avinu. And how does Avraham Avinu deal with it? Does he faint when he sees the essence of Hashem? No. The pasuk says, "V'hu yoshev pesach ha'el k'chayim hayoim." There was a tremendous revelation and a strong revelation. It was so hot, meaning that the revelation, the shine, was so strong. And what does Avraham Avinu do? He's sitting and relaxing. Yoshev pesach ha'el. He didn't lose himself. He didn't faint. He didn't fall down. He's sitting and relaxing. So apparently Avraham Avinu was able to deal with this.
There's a lot of pain. That's why.
Yeah, it's so much relaxing. Might have been.
I know how it feels. After 3 days, I mean, pain subsides a little by little, but it still hurts.
It still hurts.
It wasn't so relaxing.
No,
But it was the pain was a different aspect. It's physical body, but the revelation dealt with something entirely different. And this revelation, in spite of the pain and all of that, if you have such a revelation, it should cause you, like it says, by Matan Torah. What happened at Matan Torah? All the people died. They couldn't deal with it. But over here, this revelation was so strong and still no problem. He's sitting and relaxing. He's sitting back and relaxing. So what's happening here? Apparently, he is at such a high level that he's able to deal with that. So that's something very unique and very special. And the question that becomes, how can we also duplicate that? How can we possibly have something similar that we say, but the Rebbe Rashab was crying, I wanted to. You wanted to? Are you like Avraham Avinu?
When God came to Abraham to tell him to leave, was that a revelation?
Not, it was, but not like this. Not like this. That's well, let's get to that. Okay. Not just when he told him to leave. A bunch of other times when it comes to Avraham Avinu. What we're saying here is this was something much more unique, much more special. And it's for that reason that it's this time that we have that question.
Something about the made us real fool for him.
Well, yeah, how did still gonna hurt? We're just saying.
Why is it that this special revelation is something so unique? Is that this is such a high level, and it's a high level of Hashem that even permeates the essence of the person, totally. Why does this happen? Specifically through the mitzvah of Milah. Avraham did Milah and then Vayeira Elav Hashem. Why does the mitzvah of Milah, as opposed to every other mitzvah, accomplish something so great that you get this tremendous revelation? And not only this tremendous revelation is what comes to you, you also are able to deal with it fully.
Well,
what's special about the mitzvah of Milah?
Compare that to any other mitzvah, because it was the first mitzvah that he did, the Gashmi. So there's nothing else that he has comparable to it.
Well, so
we have all the other
so
mitzvahs.
what's so special if you do a mitzvah the Gashmis?
Well, that's what we'll find out.
Oh, so hold
But I'm saying
hold
we
on
have
there.
more mitzvahs. That
Well,
was-
he had
Yeah,
Ki and
but look,
Kol Kula.
Yeah, but that was like the Panini.
So-
down to the Gashmi.
So So let's, so since you learned this last year,
I remember.
you learned this, you've been learning this parsha for so many years. So you've gotten a little bit, let's see now, we'll learn it again this year. Let's see what can be added to what you knew up until now. And if it can't, then we're doing something wrong. There's got to be something new. Otherwise, you can say, hey, I did this last year again. You know, like the famous story with this woman who said, enough crying. They're doing the same foolish thing year after year, about Yosef. So we say, so what's so special about this mitzvah milah? Avraham Avinu, it says, Kiyam kol ha'Torah kula. He fulfilled every single mitzvah. So what's so special about the mitzvah of milah that brings such a great revelation? Because, so the reason that Rabbi says is because mitzvah milah also has these two extremes. Number one, that it gets the essence of Hashem, and number two, that the essence of Hashem is able to be received by Avraham Avinu. Mitzvah milah hilamayla mikol mitzvah haTorah. Number one, this mitzvah of milah is a very special mitzvah. It's greater than all the rest of the mitzvahs. How so? Shekol mitzvah haTorah nifrisu alein sholish b'risos. Is the covenant that was made for all the mitzvahs of the Torah, not just one covenant. It says there are three covenants. There's 3 times in the Torah that the Kris Hasbris, a covenant, is mentioned regarding the entire Torah. So the entire Torah has 3 covenants made for it. So each time we do a mitzvah, whatever the mitzvah happens to be, there's the 3 covenants with which we connect with Hashem. However, al mitzvahs milah nichrisu shloisha brisos. But when it comes to the mitzvah of milah, the Torah mentions 13 different times the concept of Krisas Bris. So there's not just one covenant, there's 13 covenants. So if you weigh 13 versus 3, which one is greater? Obviously, the mitzvah of milah is greater than all the rest of them. So that's number one. The mitzvah itself is much more special than all the rest of the mitzvahs. And together with the specialty of the mitzvah, so together with the specialty of the mitzvah, and almost in spite of the fact that this mitzvah is so special, you would think it's so special, it can't really come down so low. It's so special. It has to remain at a higher level. But what we're saying is, in spite of the specialty of this mitzvah, 13 covenants versus 3, it's so special, but nevertheless, it's dafke this mitzvah that permeates the lowest of the lowest.
You can say even after Matan Torah, with what we said about the El Yomin coming down the Tachtonim,
milah is
only
special.
one mitzvah that is done with the body.
Milah is special, correct. Brisi b'fsarchem lebris olam. About mitzvahs milah, it says that this covenant is made with our flesh, and it says with our flesh lebris olam, for a covenant forever. So you have the highest level coming down to the lowest, to our physical body. When we're special because we have a neshama, big deal. We have a neshama, nobody else has it. But we say no, of course that's special. But we're special because of our physical body. Our physical body is special. Same physical body that seems to be the one of a goy. But no. Your physical body is one that Hashem says about your physical body, our physical body. I have chosen your physical body over the physical body of every other single creation in this world. And that's what the mitzvah of milah permeates, because it's a mitzvah in the physical body. And there's something even more unique about this mitzvah, which is that with the mitzvah of milah, not only is the physical body permeated with kedusha, as it is, we know with the bris permeates the physical body. It actually changes the physical body. Elo gam ba'gashmis ha'olam ki bris mila kshura in bris ha'aretz la'rishcha lecha la'risha lecha al yidei mitzvah zu. It also changes the physical world, because Hashem says, when you do this mitzvah milah, I will then give Eretz Yisrael to you as an inheritance ad olam forever. Do the mitzvah milah, and that's what I assured you, I give you. So the mitzvah milah is associated not just with the physical body being connected in the lowest of ways to Hashem, but the physical world being connected in the lowest way. The lowest part of the physical world is connected with Hashem. Hainu shemitzvahs milah mahaven is koyach, that by fulfilling the mitzvah of milah, which seems so appropriate now and which is timely, that when Yidden fulfill, and they fulfill the mitzvah of milah more so than ever before. The mitzvah of milah is the one mitzvah that probably the majority of Jews do more so than any other mitzvah. What does that do? Shemitzvahs milah mahaven is koyach. That when we do the mitzvah of milah, this enables us, it empowers us, for us to be able to transform the physical world and transform it from Eretz Canaan, an Eretz which was called Eretz Canaan, a land that belongs to the Goyim. And we transform it from that, Shetiya Eretz Yisrael, that it should become a land belonging to the Jews. Eretz So this mitzvah of milah accomplishes so much in our physical body, but from our physical body, it even affects the physical world to be able to enable it to be transformed from an Eretz Canaan to a land that Hashem says, I have given to you ad olam. So obviously that's something so special. Now let's understand this. What does this all mean? What does this all entail? So the Rebbe goes on and says, so this is what the Rebbe starts in telling us, that to understand the question, what it is, the lesson for us, let's understand what happened here. Hashem reveals himself to Abraham, and look what happens. It comes when Hashem, the essence of Hashem, reveals himself to Abraham after the mitzvah of milah, and Abraham Avinu himself, his physical body, is transformed, and through Abraham transforming his physical body, the world is transformed. It's given from Eretz Canaan, it becomes Eretz HaKodesh. Wow, this is unbelievable. So what's happening here? And once we understand what's happening here, then we'll get to, okay, so what does it mean practically speaking for us today? So the in other words, the Rebbe says, and on a deeper level, these two extremes in what mitzvah milah accomplishes. Number one, that we take a very high level of Hashem. Vayeira, of Hashem. This essence of Hashem is revealed. Something that's beyond all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Milah is one of the greatest mitzvahs. We talked about that there's 13 covenants as opposed to 3 covenants. And this great revelation of godliness comes where is revealed in the physical body of a person and in the physical world that we have, that we live in. They're really dependent on one another, which means it's only because this revelation comes in such a low level of the physical world, in such a low level of the physical body, that we get the greatest, we get the highest level of godliness in the lowest. What's the meaning of this? What it means is, al pi hayadua, based on that which is known, the whole world was created. Why? Because Hashem wanted a dwelling place in or even before the world of Atzilus. And Hashem could have had any revelations he wanted. But Hashem says, no, I want there to be the lowest of the lowest kinds of worlds. The physical world, the physical mundane world, this coarse world that we live in, for this to be transformed into a dwelling place for Hashem.
Pretty nice world, actually, to get rid of the evil people.
Oh, that's the idea. But he wants it, the world that has evil people, and we can get rid of them. Has evil potentials, and we get rid of it. It's Basi Lagani. It's a beautiful garden, but there's weeds in it. Get rid of those weeds. Get rid of the poison. Get rid of the
Hamas.
exactly the hummus.
Masnu.
It's hummus with them.
I was wondering, I was doing talking, we say Hamasnu this week. I'm like, what does that mean? How bad is that bang? How hard should the bang be if I say I did a Hamas? I did a Hamas thing. How you doing? Hamasnu, we say that.
Oh yeah, you're certainly not as bad as Tabat.
Oh, God. It gives me an idea.
So it's dafke because we take this lowest of the lowest that we bring the highest level of godliness. Because what's revealed in the higher levels, the Elohim, revelations of Hashem. That's what comes down into the higher levels of godliness. The Ilu is galus ha'etzem mamish. We're on the bottom of 131. But his galus ha'etzem mamish, but to take the essence of Hashem, that kind of revelation, the essence of Hashem can only come into tachtoinim, into the lowest of the lowest. Hashem says, you know where I want to be revealed, where I want my essence to be? I want it to be in this physical, mundane world. That's why Hashem says that I want you to be asuli migdash v'shechanti b'soichem. I want you to build a Beis Hamikdash. I want you to build a physical Beis Hamikdash, and that's where I want to rest.
Not only there, but it's
Well, it's the physical Beis Hamikdash. So,
I just want to say that let's say she would have been before us, to be even before us, was actually the lowest of the nation of but here comes actually the holy nation of Israel.
right. Obeloshen HaKosev, as the pasuk says, the pasuk there's a pasuk in Navi and Malachim. Hini Hashamayim Mishmei Hashamayim Lo Yichal Koluchal Afki Habayis Hazeh. The way the pasuk simply is explained, that the pasuk says that the greatest of heavens don't have the revelation of God, of the essence of Hashem. Afki Habayis Hazeh. Is it possible you want me to build a Beis Hamikdash and that's where we're going to have the revelation of Hashem?
How do you read off?
But the way to read it is, the Rebbe says, that the greatest levels of heaven do not have the revelations of the essence of Hashem. Afki habayis hazeh, but the bayis hazeh, this physical home that I'm asking you to build in the physical mundane world, there I tell you that I'm going to have the revelation of
Does
Hashem.
that have to do with Alpha CC?
Same thing, correct? Yeah. So Shashamayim Mishmei Hashamayim Eilam, this whole Yonim Enim Yichelim Lahaychel Lahachel Izgalus Ha'atzmos. The spiritual levels, the higher levels of spirituality, there the essence of Hashem can't be received. Ki im habayis hazeh, it's only habayis hazeh, this home, this Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash Sheberetz Hamazu Agashmi is after the Beis Hamikdash built in the physical world. That becomes a dira la'atzmosi, a dwelling place for Hashem.
So that's
it's from there that it becomes a dwelling place for the entire world.
So that's like the counterintuitive kiddush of the entire thing. People have this idea of God being like this ultimate ruchni, they have a connection which is so far beyond us that we say, oh, we're down here in Gashmis, and they already told us, don't be so into the Gashmis and don't do this. And all of a sudden you get really into God, and all of a sudden you find out Gashmis where it was at. But we have to approach it not from where we start down here. We have to approach it from the way God sees the Gashmis. So to do that, we have to lift ourselves up a little bit. A lot.
that where can the greatest revelations of the essence of Hashem come? Into this creation that Hashem made, that you look at it and it seems like it's a creation, it's self-existent. Hashem says, Dafke, something like that can be the vehicle to have the essence of Hashem revealed there.
So when we daven, we try to have some godly experience. We don't have to go any farther than ourselves, left l'cha, to have that godly experience.
Correct.
Where else are you going to go to find a greater revelation?
It's Dafke in this physical being. The physical body is where you can have the revelation of the essence of Hashem. In other words, this yesh, this creation can only come from Hashem. Something that seems to be, when you talk about levels, that could be assumed that they're, they come from one level to another. But if you want to compare the essence, the reality of a creation, being a creation, we look at each one of us, and it seems like, and we can convince ourselves that we need nothing to be connected. Like if in Chassidus it's discussed that even when we talk about, the world is divided into daimim tzemach chai medaber, which is the inanimate, the animal life, the plant life, and the human life. So everything but the human life, you can convince yourselves, and we could say that, we know it comes from Hashem. Why do we know it comes from Hashem? Because ultimately they need to be connected with Hashem. I mean, certainly when you talk about plant life, it needs to be connected with its source. The moment you disconnect it from its source, what happens to it? It dies. So
Plant life, you can keep it on a Shabbos table, looks pretty good.
yeah, but after
Slow
Shabbos,
down.
it's over,
Slow down.
right? And even animal life, even animal life, it's different, but it's a little longer. What can be convinced, or what can, you can be convinced, and somebody looking at it can be convinced that maybe it is independent, so to say. A human being can walk around and say, look, I don't need to be connected with Hashem. I can do whatever I want.
You can mess up everything
I-
you made.
Right? And still, I can still
can't
exist,
stop you. I can destroy the world and you can't stop
and
me.
I
Why
can
should think I'm not
I can still exist. So the point is that, yes, that's possible. That is possible. But Hashem says it's exactly in that creation that I have given the ability to be able to be permeated with the essence of Hashem.
You permeate Hamas.
Can you? No,
Can Hashem permeate Hamas?
no, that's not what he wanted to.
So it's the lowest thing.
But
Somehow
again-
you think you'd want to have it the top toes. You think
But-
he created
yeah,
the
but some-
darkness for some
but some-
higher purpose.
Well, some purpose is to destroy it
So
entirely.
it's a Malach. Hamas
Right.
is a Malach.
Yeah, you have to. It's destruction is the correction of it. Yeah, that's why the halacha is abo lahorgoch hashkim b'horgoi. You have a mitzvah. If somebody wants to destroy another Jew, another person, so it's a mitzvah to get rid of him. Because that's
Person has a tumor in their body, the doctors don't wait for it to metastasize all over and then try to take it out. They get it before it goes anywhere else.
right.
Also, it's like
So Yuval. So with this, we can now understand. What can we understand? This level, this great level of the revelation of Hashem that has been accomplished through the mitzvah of Milah. This is something that every Yid has that ability,
How do
that
you get
Hashem
that
should
from the
reveal
story?
himself.
How do you get to that from the story then?
Let's go on. We'll see how far we can go on to see how we can get it. But mitzvah milah, what does it say by mitzvah milah? That when it comes to the mitzvah of milah, it's a special mitzvah that Hashem instructs us Sha'ilu di brisi b'b'sarkom b'b'salom nasa eitzel kol b'nei Yisrael atzeif kol aderis. The specialty that's accomplished through the mitzvah of Milah is a specialty that existed with Avraham Avinu and exists with each time there's another bris. That connection, that special revelation exists, happens. Even before a Yid actually does the mitzvah of Milah, his connection with Hashem is because of this mitzvah. How so? Where do we see that? I mean, you would think after he does the mitzvah, he becomes connected. But the truth is that Rabbi says, no, it even really happens before that because of the mitzvah of Milah. 1 second. Where do we see this? The halacha says so. The halacha says, if a person says that I make a shvuah that I will not have hana mimulim, I will not have a hana, any benefit from somebody who went through bris. So, in other words, if you go through a bris, I don't want to benefit from you. So anybody that goes through bris, I can't benefit from. But suppose there's a Jewish person who didn't go through bris yet. He's 7 years old, or he's 25 and hasn't had a bris. So at that point, no problem. I can benefit from him because he didn't have a bris yet. But halacha is that if I make that promise that I will not benefit from somebody who went through a bris, I'm not even allowed to benefit from a Jew who has the mitzvah but didn't do it yet.
What about a woman?
Same thing. You're allowed. He's like a Jew that didn't do the mitzvah, that l'cha'ira didn't do the mitzvah, but is going to do the mitzvah, and the halacha is just like this Jew that didn't do the mitzvah, but since he has the mitzvah, he's not considered a odol. The same thing a woman, because she doesn't have to fulfill it, and it's like she has done it. It also doesn't apply. It's also excluded. Even though they didn't do a bris. Not the woman, not this person who, for whatever reason, didn't do it yet, but command the mehila damo. It's for a man that didn't do it, or for a woman that doesn't need to do it. The point of it is, it's not just after you do it that you get the special revelation, but because you were given the commandment to do it, Hashem says, as a result of that, you have that special connection with Hashem. You're not like a oral. A guy is a whole different story.
So couldn't we look at the story now and say, from what we've learned, what the answer given to the Rebbe job was, well, that's a false question. What do you mean Hashem doesn't appear to us like that? He does, because we've already, after the bris, we're already getting it. So why assume that there's an answer that he doesn't when he really is learning he does?
So what do you think the answer is?
Well,
hang in there and we'll see. Let's understand this a little bit better. Let's see what we're actually saying here. So on the one hand, that's a good point. But we'll see why in reality, that's not such a good point. Because the bottom line is, yes, you still need the milah, right? And the milah obviously does something more. And we'll see what that means.
But he's already been boiled.
I'm talking about Avraham Avinu, what he got after the milah.
But the Rebbe Rashab was already shown him also.
So let's see what he wanted and what the deal is there.
Okay.
We just touched on it. You ready? Want to know the full answer? Yeah. So truthfully, every Yid has this revelation. Even though they didn't have the bris, they have this revelation, right? This entry of the special holy soul, which is accomplished through the mitzvah of Milah, every Yid has that. Nefesh HaKadoshah, Nefesh HaLikiyas, Hidargen Eilis Belikos, Chelik Alikami Ma'al Mamish. This nefesh, this neshama that a Yid has, is part and parcel of Hashem. It's not a revelation of Hashem, it's the essence of Hashem. When we have a part of Hashem, we have the entire essence of Hashem. So we all have that.
We should be like kind of afraid when we're around another Jew.
We should what?
We should have son of a year when we're around another
should.
Jew, because there's a piece of Hashem in it.
Right? But there's a piece of Hashem in me too.
We're just immune, huh?
We're just the same. That's the vaccination that we got. And this darga, this great level of part and parcel of Hashem, this actually permeates the physical body of a person, of a yid. We have a physical body that looks like all the rest of the people in the world. But still, ours is different. It's different with what? Because in our physical body, we have part and parcel of Hashem.
So everybody gets upset by Atzmus and Hus Mubish. We for everybody. We just
every yid has it, and every yid has this special essence of Hashem in him. That's why each and every one of us have a holy body. And that's why the halacha is that this holy body, nobody has the right to do anything to, because it's not yours. It's a holy body. It's part and parcel of Hashem. We have been instructed what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. It's not as if I have the right to do whatever I want in my body. It's not your body. It's Hashem's body.
so on this holiness of the Jewish body, that applies to everybody.
Correct.
To Moshe Rabbeinu and to everybody.
Every single
So
one.
if you can say then that there's Asmus Malubish Baguf.
Yes.
So everybody said, well, that's the Rebbe is that. But it turns out the Rebbe says, duh, that's every single one of you.
Well, that's correct. So the question is, who has it more revealed than others? That's the issue. Of course, everybody is that. With certain individuals, you see it in a much greater way. Avram Avinu, it was seen in a much greater way.
It says Tzaddikim, it says the Pnei Shechina.
That's
Yeah.
Man Pnei Hadin Dorashbi. What does that mean? Oh, you saw the Eibishter, you saw Rashbi, you saw the Eibishter? Yeah, because nothing concealed the godliness that he
Not only
was.
that, there's nothing else that exists anywhere in the entire universe that even resembles the kedusha of a yid or down here in the Shama.
Correct, correct.
So it's the holiest thing in existence,
That's correct.
and it's not
The only thing that is similar to that is the other yid.
Right.
That has the exact same thing.
But
What's that? That's why they don't tattoo their body, and that's it's a separate Vayeira, but that's why, because you have no right to do it to your body.
So why
What's that?
Avery said not to do it, but
Right.
But that's a reason. Or
Yeah.
because the Avery said.
Oh, that's why.
You've Kaddish, right?
What's that? Well, we're a Guf Kaddish, and we have no right to do it. A tattoo is something that you're not allowed to do. I can take a haircut. Nothing wrong with that.
Not the wrong haircut.
Not the wrong haircut again, because it's a holy body, and there are rules and regulations as to what you can do, what you can't do.
Can't even feed it the wrong food.
You can't feed it the wrong food. You can't do a haircut. You
Can't
can't
make it work on Shabbos.
It's a lot of things you can't do, and it's all about because this is a holy body.
And if we followed it, we'd probably look at our life differently.
Oh, not just look at our life differently, but act our life. That's it. And this revelation that was accomplished by Bris, this is something that not only affects a special tzaddik at a very high level that he's lived a life in tzidkis and then reaches the kinds of levels that who knows what. This is something that Rebbe says that affects a person gam bikatnusa, even when he's a little child, which means such as an example would be l'chol l'reish, first and foremost, ha'akar balikus. Number one, that even a child recognizes the essence of Hashem. Where do we see that? That a child recognizes the essence of Hashem? So the Rebbe says, yes, שהמוער הוא בהסגלוס ולכן אפילו תינוקת יודעים שיש שם אלוקים מצוי.
When you say he recognizes Elokus,
Yeah.
it doesn't say Atzmus. Doesn't say Atzmus.
Well, we're talking about the point of it is that, yes, we're talking about the essence of Hashem. Elikus, meaning the essence of Hashem. Doesn't say the Gilui of Elikus.
Vayeira alav avaya, same thing,
Same thing.
same Yira.
And
I don't remember what he said.
there is a difference. And again, hang in there, we'll see the difference. But this perspective that a child can connect with the essence of Hashem exists. And we'll see how so. The child doesn't say, well, yeah, it's Hashem, but it's just a lower level of it. It's this, it's that. No. With a child, it's like the Gemara. And
Atzmus is always Bizgalos.
the Rebbe will bring different examples for that, where we see that this revelation that we're talking about is without any interpretations, this level, that level, the other level, the essence of Hashem. Right. Like a child, when he makes a bracha, he says, Baruch Atah Hashem. Right? What does Baruch Atah Hashem mean? Blessed are you, God. And a child makes that bracha. And you say to him, say Baruch, says Baruch. Atah, says Atah, you. Hashem, God. So what does the child think is happening here? He is talking to God. So you talk to a genius, a philosopher, will tell you, I'm talking to God. I'm not really talking to God. I'm talking to this level, to that level, to the other level. And I don't really say directly to him. I mean, whatever. Child doesn't know any of these chokhmas. He doesn't get involved in those. He says, I'm talking to God. I'm talking to God. Finished. And the Gemara, the Rabbi brings a Gemara. The Gemara says, and he brings a Gemara. The Gemara says that Abaya and Rava, famous sages, Abaya and Rava, right? So these famous sages, Abaya and Rava, were sitting in Cheder. So Abaya and Rava were sitting in Cheder, and they were sitting with their teacher. That teacher was Rabbi. They were sitting with their teacher in Cheder, and maybe they were 4 or 5 years old. And the teacher says, Abaya, Rava, tell me, Lemi Mevarchen, who do we make a bracha to? Baruch Atah Hashem. Who is this Atah Hashem that we're making a bracha to? Lemi Mevarchen. Who do we make the bracha to? So Amrilei, so they responded as children, Amrilei, L'Rachmana. Who are we blessing? We're blessing Hashem. That's what they answered. These children, these kindalach, they answered, who are we blessing? We're blessing Hashem. So Rabbi, good answer. But he says to them, L'Rachmana Heicha Yosef, this God that you're talking about that we're blessing, where is he? Heicha Yosef, where is he sitting? Where is this Hashem that you're blessing? They asked, who are you blessing? Blessing Hashem. So he turned to them and he said, where's this Hashem that you're blessing?
I would say, where is he sitting?
Well, it's an expression. Where is he? Where is this place? So, Barachmana Heicha Yosef. So Rav Achvei Lishmei Tlala. So Rav pointed to the ceiling. What is that? Where's Hashem? Oh, there. That's what this child Rava said. Abaya was a little bit maybe smarter. And Nafik Lebara, he went outside. He took his teacher Rabbi outside. And Achvik Lapishmaya, and he pointed to the heaven. Want to know where God is? There he is. So
I didn't need the attic.
So the Gemara says, Hainu the Amre Inshe Butzin Mikatfa Yedia. The famous saying that you recognize the brilliance of a child from the time he's a little child. You already see, wow, this guy's got tremendous potential.
The rabbi, when did they?
So one second. So the point of this is, that each one of these children who weren't caught up in their philosophy, they were just caught up in Hashem. So the point being that even a little child who has this revelation of God because he had a bris, because of that, he has that special connection with Hashem. With what level of Hashem does he have a connection? With that level. What's Hashem? That's Hashem. No, don't confuse me with this level, that level, the other level. It's the essence of Hashem, period. Like the famous story with the Tzemach Tzedek who was sitting on his grandfather's lap, and he asked him, where's Zayda? And he finally pointed to him, there's Zayda.
He cried, he came.
Right.
That's it.
So again, so the point of it is, it's the essence of Hashem. There's no levels, there's no madrigas. That's what it's all about.
Okay, so now we teach our kids Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is everywhere. Right. So by it was up there, it was
Well, the point being that there's not a particular place that he is and he isn't. It's just like, in other words,
He's not here. There's a problem with that, saying God is up
No,
there.
no, no,
Hashem,
no,
it's not like that.
in other words, point of it is it's the highest of levels of Hashem that's all over the place. Because I'm saying Baruch Atah, and where is he? Even in the highest of levels. In other words, all over the place. All over the place. So again, back to,
See you, Moshe.
Shkoyach for reminding us what time it is. So again, the point of it is, and this is what the Rabbi concludes with, and if you want to see it, in the end, it's again a beautiful Sicha, like every one of them are. And it just shows us the way we all have that ability because of our connection with Hashem that we had at our bris, or that we have the ability to connect to Hashem with a bris. And again, the point of it is whether it's somebody that had his bris yet or didn't have his bris yet, but the fact is that each and every one of us have that special connection with Hashem.
That was something read yesterday in the Kuti in Torah. He was talking about, the Parshas, the Shema, each one represents a different level. So one represents Chachma, being and Das. So that was said over there, because it's down here and it's in the physical. It says the physical, which is the lowest thing. We talk about this concept of Hashem is really outside of everything. At the point when it says Hashem encompasses Atzilus, 3 it's here in the sea. It's not that Atzilus is and to that degree, it says Kulam b'chachma asisa. It says God to everything you have done, even your chachma, even Atzilus and everything. To that degree, your physical lowly world and your highest world are equal to this equality basis, and that circles and it touches really the bottom level because it says equal touch. He says, therefore, when you have this parsha, or for that matter, you have an esra, which is the chachma coming down into the physical world, you're holding more of the Abraham's essence of chachma even than existing chachma that it's in the palm of your hand.
That's exactly what it is.
And when you start saying the words of tefillah by thinking, oh, we're going to go down and just utter words of tefillah, you realize that's the Maisa is the Iker. You get down to the physical and you connect to such a degree of elokus that's higher than the highest world.
It's like you have actually the cell phone, have more power than the biggest computers in the past.
It's called Orkoizer. It says the sun is really hot. It goes through the space and it's freezing cold, absolute zero. There's no revelation. Then it hits Earth, and then when it comes back, it gets hot again. So our part down here is like down here on Earth. When we do our arousal, it really awakens this infinite power of the sun. As we're here doing it, it's amazing.
Okay.
Let's bench. Anybody make a zoom in?
Yeah, made the ground operation of the tablets. So in this case, it was okay for one to do.
Again, what?
The idea started the ground operation.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
No, my question is like this: when they attack, for sure, there's no question.
Of course.
Fight back. There's no question.
Well,
In
not
this case, where they had all this time, they could have usually went in on the weekday.
Well, but
if go on shopless for whatever reason.
for whatever reason, and if they
What I'm saying is, it's absolutely not a problem for like it.
correct.
Probably that. If the enemy knew, they could,
Yeah. Imagine if they did know, and that's why they came Simchas Torah when they knew everybody is celebrating.
It's like we often talk about everything else, but we learned if we knew what we needed to do, the ugly gone.
That's it. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. See you later.